Welcome back, fruitful listeners, to the Fruitful Three Show. Thanks for reminding me I need a mute, bro. Okay, today we are diving into Thanksgiving, a holiday that is delicious as it is complex. We'll explore its history, uncovering fascinating traditions, dig into some wild conspiracies, and even tackle the tradition that takes over living rooms every year.
Thanksgiving football.
Yes, sir. So let's kick things off with a simple question. What do you really know about Thanksgiving?
What do I know about Thanksgiving?
Yeah, what do you
It's
know
like a
about Thanksgiving?
big giant harvest feast.
Oh, cool. What are your thoughts? Answer in the comments down below. So that's all you have?
That's pretty much all. Okay, so I knew a lot about Thanksgiving originally, and then, because you learned about it in school and everything, and then after 10 plus years of being out of school, I never really cared much for it, and so I knew the little bit of the history, but then after studying it for this week's podcast, I've learned there's a lot more
in depth.
Yeah, and there's a lot more stuff behind the scenes that a lot of people don't truly think about when they think of Thanksgiving.
So first things first, this week there's so much to be thankful for. Family, friends, and the Fruitful Three merch. Share the gift of gratitude with those who mean the most, and show your appreciation by giving Fruitful Three merch to the ones you're thankful for. Spread the love, spread the cheer, and make the season even more special. Yay! So, yeah. So you want to answer that question first, or do you want to wait until the end?
We can ask them now. So while we're talking about family, friends, and everything, and Thanksgiving, so what are you guys thankful for this holiday season?
What are you thankful for?
Family, friends, football.
The 3 Fs.
Yep.
That's all you need. You don't need no food. You just need family, friends, and football.
Yep. Yeah. I was going to say, actually, if you want to get down and dirty with the whole what am I thankful for, I'm thankful that Jesus died on the cross for my sins and your sins.
Thank you.
And everybody else's sins. So that I can go to heaven and not spend the rest of my life burning in hell. Preach, brother, preach.
I was about to do the whole Southern.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, I was going to
praise the Lord.
Start doing my Southern pastor voice. So let's set the scene. It is 1621. The Plymouth colonists, or pilgrims as we call them, have just survived a brutal winter thanks to the Wampanoag tribe. The result? A 3-day harvest feast. Sounds idyllic, right? But that wasn't an annual event.
Okay, so for all of us retards out here, what does idyllic stand for? I mean,
I don't know. You're the one that sent it to me. It's idioms, right?
Extremely happy, peaceful, or picturesque. Okay.
Idealistic. That's the word I was.
I blame AI for putting words in my mouth to making me sound more intelligent. Apparently, if I sent that was AI.
No, there you go.
Yep.
Good freaking deal.
All right. So for over 200 years, Thanksgiving was celebrated sporadically in different ways across the colonies. It wasn't until President Abraham Lincoln, in the middle of the Civil War, declared it a national holiday in 1863. That is when it became official. Lincoln hoped it would help unite a fractured nation.
Did it help you as a fractured nation?
No.
Oh.
I wasn't around that time.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I am.
I thought you were immortal.
But there is probably a civil war around the corner, though, so we might need more Thanksgivings.
Yeah, maybe some other holiday's gonna happen. So here's the question to think about. Do you think Lincoln's Thanksgiving proclamation was about gratitude or was it more about politics?
That is a very good question.
Was it a political play chess piece that got moved, or was it actual gratitude?
I think it's a little bit of both, if you really think about it, because Abraham Lincoln was about trying to unite the people and bring them together, and there's a bunch of conflict going on. Yes, the major one is slavery, but there was other things that the South didn't agree, like the North didn't agree with things the South was doing, and the South didn't agree with things the North was doing, and Abraham Lincoln was trying to find the best way to level the playing field and get everybody back on the same page. So I believe it was a little bit of both. Like, he wanted everybody to realize, like, hey, we are one nation. We colonized here during one of these dark times in history. We need to be grateful for what we have and where we are and how far we've come. So it was, like I said, it was probably a little bit of both, in my opinion.
Let us know what you think in the comments down below. There we go. Fast forward to 1939. Oh, then we got Franklin D. Roosevelt trying to move Thanksgiving up a week to extend the Christmas shopping season. That bold move, dubbed Franksgiving, didn't sit well with many Americans. Congress had to step in, making the fourth Thursday of November the official date in 1941.
So, while we might think of Thanksgiving as timeless, its history is full of twists, politics, and shifting priorities. How do these historical shifts shape how we celebrate today?
That is a good transition. Because now let's talk about what we all love. Thanksgiving traditions. For many of us, it's about gathering with family over turkey, stuffing, and pumpkin pie. My favorite, bro.
Your favorite?
Yeah, I love pumpkin pie, especially when I make the pumpkin pie, bro. But did you know some families have quirky traditions? There's the annual turkey trot.
Doesn't Elijah do that?
Yeah, there's like multiple turkey trots.
Okay.
It's like a national thing.
Yeah. Because I know Elijah runs in one of those. But for those of you who don't know what a turkey trot is, it's where people run a 5K before digging into their favorite feast. Others crack out the heirloom silverware or watch Thanksgiving movies after dinner.
And if you don't know what a 5K is, it's full of 5 kilometers, but it's
It's like 3
It's 3.2. Well, it rounds up eventually to 2. 3.2 miles. It's 3.1 something. I think it's 1.6.
Yeah, we'll just say 3.2.
Yeah. And of course, there's the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, an iconic celebration of balloons, floats, and music. Do you tune in for the performances, or are you just there for the giant Snoopy balloon?
You know, this is something I'm just having second thoughts at. You know how we talking about the Macy's Day Parade? You know, we could have done the history of that, or we could have dug into the history of it just to figure out when it actually. Because I didn't even think about that while we were doing this, but I read that now, and all of a sudden I'm like, I wonder when that all started and how.
I think it started in the 30s or 40s. I do know I almost did go to it when I was living up in New York, because that would have been cool. But I was extra lazy that day, as I made myself basically a vegetarian. I shouldn't say vegan because I had dairy. A vegetarian Thanksgiving meal because meat was too expensive, and I was broke.
So here's a quick summary according to Google on the history of the Macy's Day Parade. Macy's began the parade in 1924 as a way to promote the new 7th Avenue extension of their Herald Square location and to overshadow its department store rival, Gimbel's. That first parade had many of the hallmarks of our modern parade, from floats to Santa Claus. However, it was much longer. That's your brief Google summary. If you guys want to dive in more to that, go right ahead.
Beyond the food and festivities, many use Thanksgiving as a time for giving back. Food drives and community dinners are now a big part of the holiday spirit. We kind of do that because we invite a lot of people that no longer have like family they can go hang out with, or whatever the reason, no one to hang out with. We always invite them to our dinners.
Yeah, and so you're talking about like food drives and stuff. There are, I know for a fact, like NFL players, NBA players, stuff like that, they do, I mean, a lot of your big time sports teams, or like players, I should say, get together and they give away like Thanksgiving dinners. I know a big tradition down in like Kansas City is the Chiefs all get together. They go out and they buy like several meals. They buy turkeys, they buy the potatoes and everything else, and then they give them to, they have like a food drive, and then you drive up and they give you a whole Thanksgiving Day meal that you basically just gotta put in the oven or plop on the stove and cook, and it's all. So I think that's kind of cool that there's people out there that do that and try to interact with the community and help the community, because there's a lot of people out there that unfortunately either A, don't have family to spend it with, or B, just don't have finances because it's a hard economy right now and they don't have the finances to do it. Let's dig deeper. Thanksgiving traditions actually predate the Pilgrims. Indigenous communities had harvest celebrations long before Europeans arrived. Including traditional native recipes in your feast can be a way to honor that history. Have you ever tried incorporating Native American dishes into your Thanksgiving Day meal?
Now, the article that you summarized for this, I wish it went into depth of Native American dishes of that time, but it unfortunately did not. So if you actually know the answer to this question, then by all means. I mean, we don't really do corn, do we? We do green beans.
No. Oh, man, I wish I would have thought of this, but last year we did a special on this, and we actually had the whole thing. So we're talking about Thanksgiving Day traditions, right?
There's Three Sisters soup, wild rice, and grilled salmon on cedar planks. Those are the three top ones.
You want me to read the notes that I have here? So these are the notes that I have. On traditions is Thanksgiving is a special occasion for family and friends to gather and celebrate blessings through various traditions. So the article that I found presents 45 unique Thanksgiving traditions that range from cooking new recipes to engaging in fun activities, enhancing the way families celebrate this meaningful holiday. And then it goes into the essence of Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is a time for reconnecting with loved ones and expressing gratitude for life's blessing. The holiday spirit is deeply rooted in gratitude, making it a unique occasion. Family traditions. Each family has its own distinct Thanksgiving traditions that may include using heirloom silverware, which we mentioned, playing games, or experimenting with new dessert recipes. Some families may prepare food the night before and enjoy a turkey trot, while others might watch Thanksgiving movies together after cooking. New traditions. It's never too late to introduce new traditions to enhance Thanksgiving experiences. The list of suggesting traditions include a mix of traditional and innovative activities, engaging activities. Suggestions for Thanksgiving traditions feature a variety of activities, such as adding new dessert recipes, engaging in sports like pickleball, or brochet ball, and enjoying DIY crafts. Simple pleasures like splitting the wishbone or taking a neighborhood stroll post-meal are always highlighted. You know, I always loved the wishbone thing as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
That was like one of the greatest.
But only one wish I ever wished for came true off of a wishbone.
Yeah.
Only one. I counted them because I'm nerdy like that.
So where were we?
You were reading the about Native American dishes, but you went to every other subject than Native American dishes.
That was my notes.
Oh, so that was all your notes?
Well, it wasn't all of them.
So, well, let's just move on.
We're going to move on to football.
Yeah.
Which I have notes on that. Which give me a minute here.
Now let's tackle a tradition that millions of Americans can't imagine Thanksgiving without. Football. Thanksgiving football has its roots in 1876. Just a few years after the sport was invented. That year, Yale and Princeton played a college football game on Thanksgiving, starting a tradition of fall football battles tied to the holiday.
By the late 1800s, high school and college teams were scheduling games on Thanksgiving to draw big crowds. The tradition caught on quickly, but how did the NFL make its way into the Turkey Day spotlight?
The Detroit Lions were the first NFL team to establish a Thanksgiving tradition. In 1934, the Lions hosted the Chicago Bears in a game that was broadcast on radio nationwide. The game's success made Thanksgiving football an annual NFL tradition.
So, this is just a kind of like rabbit hole side note. Did you know Vegas has the odds of a Detroit and Buffalo Super Bowl right now? For
not far from mine, I have Ravens and Lions.
Yeah.
But I already lost my bet because I said Kansas City was going to go all the way to the AFC Championship undefeated. They were going to lose to the Ravens so the Ravens could go to the Super Bowl. And then the Lions were going to go all the way to the Super Bowl.
It's tradition. Kansas City lose to Buffalo, and then they go and win a Super Bowl. It's just tradition, man.
Well,
I'm not saying that's gonna happen this year, but it happens the last 3 years. So,
well, you know what? It could happen. It could very well happen because since the NFL is entertainment now, it very well could happen.
The Taylor Swift effect. All right. So today we associate Thanksgiving football with 3 main games. The Lions' early afternoon game, the Dallas Cowboys' late afternoon game, and the NFL's primetime showdown introduced in 2006. Here's a question for you. Thanksgiving football about the love of the game, or is it just an excuse to escape dish duty after dinner? Escape dish duty. All the way, bro. All the way.
You don't like dish duty?
Nope.
Come on, man. You even have a dishwasher, bro. You are so goated right now. Like you have a dishwasher, bro. If I had a dishwasher, dishes would be done so quickly, bro. But no, I gotta sit there and wax on, wax off, bro.
Yeah. Well, so technically I can't use a dishwasher now because apparently I put everything and anything in a dishwasher, and apparently certain things melt in dishwashers.
Yeah, you never really put plastic in dishwashers.
And basically everything of Ivy's is plastic, so we just wash dishes now by hand.
And that's why you gotta read the back of the plating,
Yep.
And it'll tell you if it's dishwasher safe or not. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, whether you're a die-hard fan or just watching for the halftime shows, there's no denying that Thanksgiving football has become an essential to the day as turkey and pie.
All right. So before we go into the next subject, I'm going to read my notes on Thanksgiving Day football.
Good deal.
Which they're very similar to these, but it might go into a little bit more detail. So Thanksgiving Day football has primarily faded except in the NFL, particularly with the Detroit Lions and Dallas Cowboys. The Lions initiated the Thanksgiving Day tradition in 1934 after moving from Portsmouth to Detroit. By the way, speaking of Portsmouth, we didn't talk about this when we talked about football, but did you know there was a kid that grew up in Gilead, Nebraska that actually played for Portsmouth?
Yeah, I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah, I know.
A hometown represent.
Look it up. We gotta like give him a shout out, even though he's been like dead for 100 years. But the Lions initiated the Thanksgiving tradition in 1934 after moving from Portsmouth to Detroit, organizing a game against the Chicago Bears that became iconic. This event not only attracted fans, but also showcased the Lions' competitive spirit, leading them to a championship win in 1935. The game has continued annually, solidifying the Lions' association with Thanksgiving football. Thanksgiving Day football was once a widespread tradition in high schools and colleges across America, but it has largely declined except in the NFL. The Detroit Lions have been playing on Thanksgiving Day since 1934, a tradition which that already summed that up. The Lions' Thanksgiving Day began after George A. Richards moved the Portsmouth Spartans to Detroit. Richards aimed to attract local fans as the Lions competed with the Tigers for sports coverage. The inaugural game against the Chicago Bears in 1934 was a crucial matchup, with the Lions having a strong season. In the 1934 game, Detroit played against the Bears, who had a better record, but ended up narrowly defeating the Lions. Despite two back-to-back losses, the Lions rebounded and won the NFL championship in 1935, clinching it in another Thanksgiving Day game against the Bears. Their tradition has continued with very few interruptions since its inception, notably a 6-season gap from 1939 to 1944. The first Lions-Bears game was nationally significant, being broadcasted over a 94-station network set by Richards and NBC Radio. The iconic announcing duo of Grant McNamee and Don Wilson covered the initial Thanksgiving Day game, enhancing its visibility and popularity.
Glenn Presnell, born in Gilead, Nebraska, attended DeWitt High School and the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. He played college football as a halfback for the Nebraska Cornhuskers football team from 1925 to 1927. In 25, Presnell led Nebraska to a 14-0 victory over the Illini team that included the Galloping Ghost, Red Grange. As one writer put it, all the galloping was done by Presnell that day. He was selected as a first team player on the 1927 college football All-America team. After leaving Nebraska, Presnell played football for the Ironton Tanks in Ironton, Ohio. He was a player coach for the team and also taught science at Ironton High School. Presnell was a halfback at Ironton's single-wing offense, and he also played on defense that would later be considered the safety position. Although not officially part of the National Football League, the Tanks played against teams in the league. In 1930, Presnell led Ironton to victories over both the New York Giants and the Chicago Bears. After the Giants and Tanks trailed 12-6 with 3 seconds left, Presnell threw a touchdown pass to Gene Alford and then kicked the extra point to give Ironton a 13-12 victory over a Giants team that finished in second place in the NFL. He also scored 2 touchdowns against the Bears, including an 88-yard run. After the 1930 season, the Tanks folded. In 1931, Presnell joined the Portsmouth Spartans in the NFL. He had the best season in 1933, where he led the NFL in total offense with 1,296 yards. He also broke the single-season NFL record with 64 points. Ken Strong tied with Presnell with the same point total in 1933. During the 1933 NFL season, Presnell completed 50 of 125 passes for 740 passing yards and added 522 rushing yards on 118 for an average, or 118 carries for an average of 4.4 yards per carry. He also kicked 5 field goals and 13 extra points. He led the NFL with 6 rushing touchdowns and 13 successful extra point conversions. He also finished second in the league behind Harry Newman in passing touchdowns, passes completed, pass attempts, and passing yards. Following the 1933 season, Presnell was selected as first-team All-NFL player by the NFL, the United Press, and the Coiler's Eye magazine. In 1934, the owner of Portsmouth Spartans sold the team. The team was moved to Portsmouth, Ohio, from Portsmouth, Ohio, to Detroit, Michigan, and became the Detroit Lions. When Presnell visited Detroit to sign his first contract with the Lions in 1934, team owner George A. Richards allowed Presnell to pick the team colors. Presnell later recalled, "Mr. Richards, the owner, the day I was up there and signed my contract, he said, there's a table out there in the next office covered with uniforms. Why don't you pick out the colors you like? I went out, my wife was with me, we saw this Honolulu blue and silver, and we fell in love with it." Presnell remained with the Lions from 1934 to 1936. He combined with Dutch Clark Skadowski and Ernie Cadell to lead the Lions to a second-place finish in 1934, and in 1935, the same group led the Lions to the first NFL championship, culminating with a 26-7 victory over the New York Giants in the 1935 NFL championship game. Presnell also set an NFL record with a 54-yard field goal in 1934, a mark that has not been broken until 1953. He went on to coaching after he retired and eventually ended up at Nebraska in his first season, 3-7. In December 1942, Presnell enlisted in the United States Army. In 1943, he was commissioned as a lieutenant and assigned to the Navy's physical education program. Presnell died in September 2004 in Ironton, Ohio, at the age of 99. He has been the last surviving member of the Detroit Lions inaugural 1934 team. That's a lot of reading.
That was a badass dude coming from a small town like this.
Well, it's a lot more populated.
Well, I mean, it was like a town of 200, but still, we need like a memorial in this town. Everybody's got like their own. See, like Chester, you take Chester, Allison Tejan, Miss Nebraska. Like, she's got her own poster. The Olympic from Geneva, she's got her own little
Let's build a statue.
Yeah, we gotta do like some monument for this dude.
We could put it in the park. There you go. Yeah, again, couldn't have Eli structure it if he knows how to do all the molding and stuff.
I was gonna say, yeah, there you go.
So yeah. Anything you'd like to add to football or
no? We can go into conspiracies now.
And now for the
fun stuff.
Juicy stuff. Conspiracies and controversies. Controversies? Yeah. Let's start with this. Was the 1621 feast really the first Thanksgiving? Some historians argue it wasn't. Feast of Gratitude happened as early as 1565 in Florida and 1619 in Virginia. Could our cherished Thanksgiving origin story just be good PR for Plymouth? We were here in Americas before the 1620 land, so there's a good possibility that we could have met up with natives and had a feast, because like Florida and Southern America were the first, or Central America were the first Americas discovered. Then there's Lincoln's 1863 proclamation. Was it purely? Am I saying purely right? I feel like I'm not saying purely right. About fostering unity, or was it also a way to distract from the horrors of Civil War? Here's a more sobering thought. For many Native Americans, Thanksgiving is a day of mourning. It represents colonization, broken treaties, and loss of culture. The National Day of Mourning, held annually, is a powerful reminder of its reality, because we stole a lot of land.
And a lot of reality is we didn't really, I wouldn't say we really stole land.
We took it.
But Christopher Columbus made a mistake, landed here, found a bunch of like rich ground and very valuable land, and reported it back like, hey, I found all this, not really knowing that it was inhabited. And then ships started showing up, and that's when all the problems went down.
Yeah, queens got greedy. They were like, profit, money, 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 gold, gold, gold,
Was it? And what?
Yeah.
And what about the diseases that wiped out much of the indigenous population before the Pilgrims even arrived? Some conspiracies suggest these epidemics weren't entirely accidental. What do you think? Coincidence or something more sinister?
I think, like, obviously there would be differences, but the same as the Indians or Native Americans, my bad. The Native Americans got sick, then the Englishmen would also get sick. Or the Europeans, I should say, also would get sick because of a different area that your body's not used to, and different climates and all this other stuff. As you sit down for your feast this year, ask yourself this: what does Thanksgiving truly mean to you? Is it just about gratitude, or is there room to reflect on the history and resilience of those who came before us?
So, before we move on,
you got some dark history.
Yeah, I do, and I figured this is a perfect time to throw it in. The article that I found on, let me find my source here, on Potawatomi.org discusses the complex and often troubling history of Thanksgiving, highlighting how the celebration perpetuates a narrative that overlooks the suffering and brutality faced by Native American communities over the last 400 years. It emphasizes the contrast between the holiday's themes of gratitude and community and the historical realities of colonization, oppressed, and violence against indigenous peoples. Additionally, it recounts the true origins of Thanksgiving and the experiences of the
Yeah, I butchered the name earlier, so it's fine.
Wampanoag people. Sorry, you can come after me if you want to. Particularly Squanto, while advocating for increased awareness and accurate education surrounding the holiday history. The history of Thanksgiving is marred by the atrocities committed against Native Americans, which are often ignored in popular narratives. Thanksgiving as a U.S. holiday was established in November 1863 by President Abraham Lincoln during the Civil War as an attempt to foster unity. The period leading up to Thanksgiving saw a mass execution of Dakota tribal members, highlighting the violence faced by Native communities. Myths versus reality. The narrative around Thanksgiving often simplifies and beautifies events, masking the violent history and contributions of Native peoples. The Pilgrims' arrival in Plymouth was more complicated than commonly taught, which some historians suggested they intended to settle far from Anglican control. misunderstandings about the environmental conditions. Did you just drop a pen?
A pencil.
All of a sudden, I just saw some drop out of the corner of my eye. Misunderstandings about the environmental conditions led to misconceptions about their settlement decisions. Impact of disease on native populations. Indigenous populations face catastrophic declines due to diseases introduced by European settlers, decimating communities long before the Pilgrims' arrival. The widespread loss of life from these diseases created opportunities for colonizations, as settlers occupied lands that had been cleared by the deceased native populations. Squanto and the Wampanoag Nation. Squanto's story is less a tale of benevolence and more one of survival and manipulation after years of enslavement and witnessing the devastation of his tribe. The relationship between the Wampanoag, led by Massasoit, and the Pilgrims was strategic, forged out of a desire for alliance against a common enemy. Current perspective and commemorations. Many Native Americans view Thanksgiving as a day of mourning due to legacy of genocide and broken treaties. The National Day of Mourning has been established to remember the suffering of Native peoples, starting from a public invitation to speak about the realities of colonization that was later rescinded. Education and awareness. There is a push for educational curricula that accurately reflect Native American experiences and history around the Thanksgiving holiday, incorporating tradition, native ingredients, and recipes and modern celebrations of Thanksgiving can help acknowledge and honor the true history of the holiday. So my question is after that, what would you think about if they actually did get that curriculum into school?
I think all the truth should be in schools.
Yeah, so do I.
But, we don't always get the truth.
There's, as Mom always said, there's 3 sides to every story. Your side, my side, and the truth. So, no offense to like Native Americans by any means, but if you're trying to push more of their story into schools, how many of those stories probably got twisted over the years? I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying it like you need to understand this, and you need to understand that Thanksgiving isn't all happy, like a happy holiday. It ain't all like thanks and gratitude and family, friends, and just sitting around the table eating turkey, enjoying life. There's actually a darker history to it, but at the same time that's almost been 400 years, and some of those stories somebody could have twisted it a little bit more to make it sound like they were the good guys, we were the bad guys, when in reality they attacked us and then we attacked them, and pretty much we won.
That's a good subject for like a debate class.
It is. I never thought of that. Well, that's really good.
That would be something for a debate class. So, is there anything you would like to add, big boy? That is it for today's show. Thanksgiving deep dive. From its tangled history to evolving traditions, football, and wild conspiracies, there's so much more to this holiday than turkey and pie.
Here's my challenge for you. Share this episode during your Thanksgiving dinner. Start a conversation about what the holiday means to your family.
And don't forget to join us next week as we kick off our 4-episode Christmas series. Oh, that is that's still in the progress of I haven't talked to you about.
You're good.
Until then, stay fruitful and stay curious. Peace, love, happiness, and unity.
Deuces.